Welcome to the Shadow of History channel. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out more videos like this one. Behind a veil of barbed wire in Najaf, a hooded Iraqi prisoner tenderly pulls his young son close in March 2003, offering a brief moment of fatherly warmth amidst the cold, unforgiving machinery of a global conflict. Clinging to rusted girders and broken dreams, desperate German refugees navigate the ruins of a bridge over the Elbe River in 1945, seeking a path towards safety as the fires of the Second World War finally fade. Stripped of his crown and exiled to the quiet Dutch countryside, the former Kaiser Wilhelm II wanders his estate during the 1930s, a bearded ghost of a vanished empire reflecting on the heavy cost of history. Defiance meets steel in late October 2000 as young Fairs stands alone against an armored giant in Gaza, a solitary figure armed only with a stone and the unyielding courage of a boy facing his fate. Bathed in the soft glow of a shop window in 1948, a young boy stares in silent wonder at a flickering television screen, witnessing the dawn of a technological revolution that would soon change the world forever. Driven by a mother's fierce devotion, Mary Ann Bevan endured the cruel title of the world's ugliest woman in 1920s, England sacrificing her own dignity to ensure her children never had to go a day hungry. In a heartbreaking display of 1948, Chicago poverty, 4 children sit for sale on a porch while their mother turns away in shame. A haunting reminder of the desperate lengths some are forced to go to survive. From the rattling cabin of a helicopter, a grainy lens captured the first terrifying glimpse of the Chernobyl disaster in April 1986, documenting the invisible poison spreading across the fractured heart of the Soviet nuclear age. Within the sterile confines of an Israeli prison yard in 1961, the architect of the Holocaust stands in chilling banality, finally facing the world's a judgment for the systematic horrors he helped unleash upon millions of innocent souls. Emerging from the sub-zero shadows of 1940, the legendary sniper known as the White Death remains a ghostly figure of the Winter War, a silent guardian whose deadly precision turned the frozen wilderness into a terrifying graveyard. Emerging from the profound silence of a Spanish cave after 500 days, Beatrice Flamini tested the very limits of the human mind, proving that even without light or time, the spirit finds a way to endure. Among a group of playful Havana schoolboys in 1937, a young Fidel Castro stands with a simple lollipop in hand, unaware that he would one day lead a revolution that would reshape the destiny of his nation. Submerged in the crystal-clear depths of San Marcos in 1954, a diving clown and his graceful mermaid bride exchange vows beneath the bubbles, celebrating a whimsical underwater union. That captured the unique spirit of mid-century Texas. Lean and contemplative John F. Kennedy leans against a fence to talk with a neighbor, his casual stance hiding the rigid back brace that supported a future president through years of private pain and public service. Standing before a miniature timbered house gifted by the people of Wales in 1932, the young Princess Elizabeth enjoys a rare moment of childhood play before the heavy mantle of the British. Monarchy would change her life. Waking to the sight of sneakers against the ancient stone, in 1981, a photographer captures the surprising life atop the Great Pyramid, where local guides have climbed the heights of history for centuries to greet the sun. Radiating joy on their 1992 wedding day, Steve and Terry Irwin begin a life defined by adventure and a shared passion for the wild, starting a journey of conservation that would eventually inspire the entire world. Separated by the rigid walls of religious tradition in 1888, the graves of a Dutch couple reach out across a cemetery, divide their stone hands joined forever in a defiant and beautiful final embrace of eternal love. Dressed in the intricate patterns of her heritage, a Christian Bedouin woman from 1898 Kirak gazes into the lens with a quiet strength, representing the rich and diverse cultural tapestry of a long-vanished era of history. High above a sea of chanting voices in February 1979, Iranian students hoist the portrait of Ayatollah Khomeini, marking a seismic shift in power as the Islamic Revolution swept across the streets of a changing Tehran. Looking down upon a landscape of skeletal ruins in 1945, the blackened remains of Dresden serve as a grim monument to the devastating firestorms of war that claimed thousands of lives in a single terrifying night. Returning to the very same street corners 40 years later, a dedicated photographer reunites the subjects of his past, bridging the decades to show how time leaves its mark while the human connection remains unchanged. Framed by the soft elegance of 1905, a mother and her daughter pose for a timeless portrait, their gentle embrace capturing a fleeting moment of Victorian domesticity before the rushing winds of the new century arrived. After falling, too, miles from a lightning-struck plane in 1971, young Julianne Koepke survived a miraculous 10-day trek through the dense Amazon jungle, a harrowing journey of endurance that defied every possible law of nature. A jagged scar of missing steel marks the North Tower on that clear September morning in 2001, a haunting void that remains etched into the skyline and the collective memory of a world forever changed by tragedy. Suspended high above the London streets, in 1936, a baby rests in a wire cage designed to provide fresh air, a peculiar and daring experiment in urban parenting that reflected the era's unique approach to health. Deep beneath the bustling streets of London in 1898, weary laborers carve out the future of the Central Line, their pickaxes echoing through the dark, narrow tunnels as they lay the foundations for a modern subterranean world. In a small English classroom on July 1, 1941, young children diligently focus on their writing lessons while wearing bulky gas masks, a hauntingly calm testament to the surreal and heavy burdens placed upon the innocent. Following the catastrophic 1906 San Francisco earthquake, a jagged and terrifying chasm tears through the solid pavement at 18th and Lexington Streets, revealing the immense raw power of the earth that shattered a once thriving American city. Perched precariously atop the Chrysler Building in 1932, two daring workers scrub a massive steel gargoyle high above the New York City skyline, where the biting wind and dizzying heights were just part of the job. With incredible balance and a lifetime of grit, a London porter navigates the slippery floors of Billingsgate Fish Market in 1934, carrying a towering stack of crates that symbolizes the relentless physical labor of the era. In this elegant 1875 portrait by Francisco van Camp, a mestiza de sangle woman gazes forward with quiet poise, her intricate lace attire reflecting the complex cultural blending and rich heritage found within the 19th century Philippines. Across the vast plains of Fort Riley, Kansas in 1917, thousands of soldiers from the 164th Depot Brigade stand in precise formation to create a living service flag, a powerful human mosaic of patriotism and collective duty. On the 1963 set of The Birds, Tippi Hedren shares a surreal and quiet moment as a clever crow lights her cigarette a striking image captured by Filippo Halsman that blurs the line between Hollywood glamour and macabre. Walking through the streets of Cairo in 1994, Muammar Gaddafi is flanked by his famous elite female bodyguards whose presence served as both a fierce protective shield and a calculated, defiant political statement to the world. As they arrive at Love Field in Dallas on this fateful day in 1963, JFK and Jackie Kennedy beam with radiant smiles, unaware that these vibrant moments of political triumph would soon be clouded by an American tragedy. Rising above the lower Manhattan skyline on September 11, 2001, the Twin Towers stand in silent majesty just moments before the world changed forever, leaving behind a legacy of profound loss and an unbreakable spirit of remembrance. In 1966, this massive stack of 62,500 punched cards represented AI, mere 5 megabytes of data, a staggering visual reminder of how far our digital world has climbed from these heavy paper beginnings. Braving a steady Paris rain in 1961, John F. Kennedy and Charles de Gaulle stand together in a display of diplomatic unity, their rain-slicked coats reflecting the somber and high-stakes atmosphere of Cold War-era tensions. On August 20, 1998, a series of American cruise missiles struck the Al-Shifa factory in Sudan, an act I intended to combat terror that instead decimated the vital facility responsible for producing nearly all the nation's medicines. High atop Mount Lee, the iconic Hollywood sign originally displayed 4 extra letters as a real estate advertisement until the final section was removed in 1949 to create the world-famous symbol of the silver screen. Captain Jack Bonavita famously commanded a cage of 27 lions with fearless grace, yet his long and storied career as a legendary tamer met an unexpected and tragic end at the hands of a polar bear in 1917. Trapped neck-deep in a slurry of mud and debris after the 1985 Colombian volcanic eruption, young Omaira Sanchez displayed heartbreaking courage during her final hours while the world watched on in a state of helpless, agonizing grief. As crime gripped the New York City subway in 1979, the Guardian Angels donned their signature red berets to patrol the trains, proving that a small group of dedicated volunteers could reclaim their streets from fear and chaos. On the night before his tragic passing in 1978, Keith Moon appeared unusually vibrant and sober at a London film premiere, leaving friends with a final hopeful memory of the legendary drummer before his light vanished forever. The skyline of Philadelphia was forever scarred on May 13, 1985, when a police bombing destroyed an entire residential block and claimed 11 lives, a devastating moment of domestic conflict that left hundreds of people homeless. At the Omaha Stadium Motordrome in 1914, fearless motorcycle racers sit, perched on their machines, ready to defy gravity on the steep wooden tracks during the final dangerous days of this high-speed and often lethal American sport. In the blistering heat of the Nevada desert in 1960, a daring stuntman struggles to master a powerful rearing Mustang, capturing the raw, untamed energy required to bring the rugged spirit of the West to the cinema. Glistening under the soft light of a 1949 Parisian workshop, rows of delicate Eiffel Tower snow globes await their journey to tourists, serving as tiny enchanted windows into the romantic heart of France's most beloved and iconic city. Gathered in a St. Louis alleyway on a Monday morning in 1910, a group of young newsies pass around cigarettes during a break, their weary, faces revealing the harsh adult realities of child labor in industrial America. Standing outside a London cricket ground in 1937, two wealthy schoolboys in formal attire pass by a group of local youths, creating a stark visual contrast that perfectly illustrates the deep class divisions of pre-war Britain. In the wake of communism's collapse in June 1991, an East Berlin school bin overflows with discarded portraits of political leaders, marking a symbolic and messy transition toward a new, uncertain era of freedom for Germany. Waiting. Quietly at a rural train station around 1930, a young Native American mother holds her child close, her steady gaze reflecting a resilient spirit amidst a rapidly changing landscape and the heavy weight of ancestral history. Inside a quiet Parisian studio in 1918, sculptor Anna Coleman Ladd painstakingly paints a prosthetic mask using her artistic talents to restore the shattered faces and stolen dignity of soldiers wounded on the battlefields of France. Captured by Knud Knudsen in 1875, this rare photograph reveals the quiet, snow-dusted street life of Tromsø, Norway, where horse-drawn sleds and wooden storefronts define the frozen rhythms of a remote and beautiful Arctic coastal town. Until the 1930s, the women of the Azores often wore the mysterious and dramatic capote e capello, a traditional dark hood that completely enveloped the wearer, creating a striking silhouette against the rugged volcanic landscape of Fayal. Before his sudden passing during the filming of Gladiator, legendary actor Oliver Reed enjoyed a final boisterous night out, leaving behind this lasting image of a man who lived as intensely and unapologetically as the characters he portrayed. A fragile life was tragically extinguished after classroom threats shattered a family's world, leaving a grieving mother to reveal the devastating cost of fear and intolerance that haunted her young daughter's final, silent moments. In a bold defiance of global powers, King Faisal fundamentally reshaped the geopolitical landscape in 1973 by cutting off oil supplies to the West, proving that natural resources could be wielded as a formidable weapon. Beneath the grand decks of the ill-fated Titanic, this rare 1912 photograph captures the eerily still waters of the first-class swimming pool, offering a haunting glimpse into a luxury soon to be swallowed by the sea. What began as a brief engineering experiment in Turkmenistan in 1971 evolved into a permanent inferno as the door to hell continues to burn across the desert sands, defying every human attempt to extinguish its flames. Stretching toward the sky with immense power, the massive punt guns of the early 20th century were so efficient at harvesting waterfowl that authorities eventually banned them to protect the rapidly dwindling bird populations of 1910. At only 4 years old, a young boy began his journey as the spiritual heartbeat of his people when he was formally enthroned in 1940, assuming a sacred mantle that would endure through decades of exile. A chilling silence fell over a San Diego schoolyard in 1979 when a teenager committed an unthinkable act of violence, later justifying her cold-blooded actions with the hauntingly simple claim that she just didn't like Mondays. Laughter echoes through the air as a reminder that joy remains the most potent medicine, captured here in 1956 to show how a simple smile can heal the weary spirit even in the most trying times. The silver screen loses a true titan as we honor the enduring legacy of Robert Redford, an actor whose rugged grace and profound storytelling defined a golden era of American cinema and touched hearts across many generations. An era of heavy-hitting entertainment reaches its final bell with the passing of Hulk Hogan at age 71, leaving behind a colorful legacy of strength that forever changed the face of professional wrestling for his millions of fans. Trapped within a wooden prison in 1913, a Mongolian woman faced a slow and harrowing fate. Yet the presence of nearby plates suggests a glimmer of secret mercy from those who risked everything to offer her food. Draped in the powerful hide of a predator, the Almighty, Arikara warrior bear's belly stands as a proud guardian of his heritage in 1909, his intense gaze reflecting the deep spiritual connection between his people and the land. In the midst of the Great Depression's crushing grip, a drought victim in 1930 Arkansas finds a moment of vital sustenance provided by the Red Cross, highlighting the quiet resilience of those surviving on the edge. Amidst the rugged peaks of Glacier National Park in 1913, the Blackfoot, people stand with a timeless dignity that honors their ancestral grounds, even as the world around them began to shift into a new and uncertain era. Standing before the world's second-largest log cabin in 1938, these children marvel at a massive timber monument in Oregon that would eventually vanish in a spectacular blaze, leaving only photographs of its vanished wooden grandeur. The quiet charm of a Norwegian winter comes alive on this Tromsø street during the 1960s, where colorful buildings and a dusting of snow create a peaceful scene that feels like a postcard from a simpler time. Laughter and daring leaps define the rugged playgrounds of the 1970s, where children tested their limits on towering metal structures that favored raw adventure over the cautious safety standards of our modern and more protected world. Balanced with incredible grace and maternal strength, a Japanese woman navigates the path of the early 1900s while carrying her children in baskets, showcasing a beautiful yet demanding tradition of daily life in a bygone era. A picture of mid-century stability emerges from Detroit in the 1950s, where a typical family gathers to enjoy the newfound prosperity of the American dream during a time of significant industrial growth and cultural transformation. With the shadow of conflict looming over Hextable, in 1938, a mother tests a specialized, gas-proof stroller, a sobering reminder of how ordinary families were forced to prepare for the terrifying uncertainties of the coming war. Adorned in the intricate lace and velvet of the early 20th century, a young British girl embodies the elegant fashion of her time, standing as a delicate portrait of childhood innocence during a period of great change. High above the ground in 1906, Federico Caprilli demonstrates the breathtaking agility of the mount, a testament to the rigorous training and bond between horse and rider at the esteemed Italian cavalry school of that era. Suspended beneath the rising towers of the Golden Gate Bridge in the 1930s, a vital safety net became a literal lifeline for 19 workers who cheated death, proving that innovation could protect those building our modern world. In a candid and controversial moment from 1963, Jackie Kennedy is seen smoking while pregnant, offering a rare look at the private habits of a public icon before the health risks of tobacco were fully understood by society. Sent into the cold silence of orbit with no hope of return, Laika became a reluctant pioneer as the first dog in space, a lonely sacrifice that paved the way for human travel among the distant stars. Returning home with hard-won honors in 1919, the Harlem Hellfighters marched through New York, wearing their medals of valor, having proven their immense bravery on the battlefields of Europe despite the heavy burdens of systemic prejudice. Laughter rings through the cold air of 1892 as two women in New York meticulously craft a snow woman, a playful and creative moment of winter joy that was immortalized within the pages of a popular magazine. Her face marked by traditional beauty, A young Ainu woman of the 1910s represents an indigenous culture that has quietly persisted in Japan, often blending into the modern world while holding fast to its ancient ancestral roots. Clutching her tattered doll amidst the jagged ruins of a bombed-out London in 1940, a young girl becomes a silent symbol of the many children who lost their innocence during the relentless darkness of the Great Blitz. Unearthed in 1799, the Rosetta Stone served as a vital bridge to the past, allowing scholars to finally unlock the mysterious hieroglyphs of ancient Egypt and reveal the long-forgotten secrets of a civilization buried by time. 13-year-old Gladys Smith carries the weight of an entire family in 1939 Alabama, managing the daily chores of a rural home with a maturity and resilience that far exceeded her young and tender years of age. Long before digital screens dominated our living rooms, this simple manual dial from the 1970s served as a reliable gateway to entertainment, requiring no batteries but occasionally testing a child's patience during the Saturday morning cartoons. High above the bustling streets of Manhattan in 1930, the Empire State Building rises through a skeletal frame of steel, surrounded by a fleet of majestic airships that once promised a very different future for aviation. Seeking a fresh start as a Scottish immigrant in the late 1870s, Williamina Fleming worked as a humble housekeeper before her brilliant mind transformed her into a pioneering astronomer who would eventually change our understanding of the stars. Poised against a breathtaking horizon in 1900, this elegant traveler peers through her early Kodak camera, capturing a fleeting moment of natural beauty that would be preserved forever in the delicate chemistry of a vintage photographic film. Standing on the cold cobblestones of London in 1905, these weary children represent a forgotten generation struggling for survival. Yet the original title of this poignant image hauntingly labeled them as the future citizens of the empire. In the patriotic spirit of the early 1900s, an American mother and her young daughter stand proudly together, their hands gripping the stars and stripes as they look toward a century of unprecedented change and national growth. Sampling a foreign culture for the first time in 1950, this Frenchman's skeptical expression suggests that the sugary spark of an American Coca-Cola was perhaps an acquired taste rather than an immediate romance for the sophisticated palate. Gathered around a modest table in Smithfield, Iowa during 1936, the Pauley family shares a Great Depression Christmas dinner of potatoes and cabbage, proving that even in the leanest of times, the spirit of togetherness remains. The titans of cinema gather on a dusty landscape in 1968 as Sergio Leone directs his legendary cast through the tension of a masterpiece that would redefine the Western genre and captivate audiences for generations to come. Representing the traditional heart of a nation, this large Spanish family gathers for a formal portrait during the 1960s. He's showcasing a vibrant era of cultural transition where deep-rooted domestic values met the coming waves of modernity. Witness the terrifying power of nature as Mount St. Helens is transformed from a lush peak into a hollowed crater captured from the exact same vantage point just one day before and 4 months after the 1980 eruption. Suspended thousands of feet above the Earth during a 1936 flight, a daring mechanic inspects the massive engines of the Hindenburg, illustrating the incredible scale and high-stakes maintenance required to keep the giants of the Zeppelin era airborne. Waiting at a quiet train station around 1930, a young Native American mother holds her child close, a quiet moment of transition reflecting the enduring strength of her heritage amidst the rapidly shifting landscape of a modernizing nation. Peering into the complex heart of the world's most famous ocean liner, this detailed 1912 cross-section reveals the intricate layers of luxury and machinery that defined the Titanic just before its tragic and fateful encounter with history. Revealing the hidden strength behind a legendary skyline, this 1972 photograph captures the massive steel core of the Twin Towers during their construction, long before they became the finished icons that defined the New York City horizon. Captured during a quiet moment in Gloucestershire in 1987, Princess Diana shares a tender and playful laugh with young Prince Harry, a private glimpse into her life as a devoted mother amidst the pressures of the monarchy. Dressed in the traditional attire of a bygone era, this Japanese newsman from the 1870s stands as a vital messenger for his community, bridging the gap between ancient customs and the rapidly encroaching influence of the modern world. Walking through the empty halls of power on January 19, 2001, Bill Clinton reflects on 8 years of leadership as he prepares to leave the Oval Office for the final time on his last day as president. Nestled within the greenery of Central Park in 1933, this sprawling Hooverville shantytown serves as a stark and visible reminder of the economic hardship that gripped New York City and the nation during the Great Depression. Whizzing down the sidewalk with a futuristic flair, a commuter tests out these petrol-powered motorized roller skates in 1961, a quirky invention that promised to revolutionize personal transportation long before the advent of modern electric scooters. To prove the safety of their vibrant products in 1960, a dedicated cosmetic company worker stands covered in dozens of lipstick kisses, serving as a living canvas to demonstrate that the dyes used were completely harmless to consumers. Lifting her habit and joining the fun, a joyful nun dances with a circle of energetic children in 1964, capturing a rare and heartwarming moment where religious devotion and the simple purity of childhood play perfectly intersect. Scaling the treacherous peaks of the Alps around 1900, this group of mountaineers navigates a deep crevasse, led by a remarkably determined lady who faces the freezing elements while fully dressed in a traditional period corset. Exuding elegance and cultural pride, a young woman of the Owl Nail tribe poses in 1905, her intricate jewelry and traditional attire telling a story of Algerian heritage that has fascinated travelers and photographers for over a century. Merging advanced computing with everyday style, the 1975 Pulsar wristwatch arrived as a groundbreaking marvel of its time, offering a high-tech calculator on the wrist that signaled the dawn of the digital age for the modern consumer. Walking through the historic streets of Stockholm in the 1880s, two dapper Swedish gentlemen and their loyal dog pause for a portrait, capturing the quiet dignity and refined fashion that defined Northern European life during the late 19th century. Overcome by exhaustion during an official royal engagement in 1981, Princess Diana briefly falls asleep, unaware that her secret pregnancy with Prince William would soon be announced to a world captivated by the young royal family. Carved by centuries of natural erosion and human ingenuity, the otherworldly landscape of Göreme, Turkey, looked like a fairy tale kingdom in 1899. With ancient rock formations serving as homes and churches for its resilient and creative inhabitants. Walking down a sun-drenched path exactly 100 years ago, these figures remind us of the simple rhythms of daily life, where the pace was slower and every small task was a fundamental part of the community. Defying the laws of gravity in 1985, Michael Jordan soars through the air during the slam dunk contest. a legendary moment of athletic grace that cemented his status as a global icon and changed basketball history forever. With a gaze that speaks of deep history and resilience, Kau Utz of the Caddo Nation sits for a powerful portrait in 1906, preserving the dignity and rich cultural heritage of her people for all future generations to witness. Two of the greatest minds of the 20th century share a rare moment of levity in 1931. As Charlie Chaplin and Albert Einstein attend the glittering premiere of City Lights amidst a whirlwind of worldwide fame. Defying the expectations of its massive size, a majestic circus elephant balances gracefully on its front legs in 1920, showcasing the incredible training and spectacle that once drew thousands of eager spectators to the big top. Standing beside the colossal links of a forged steel chain in 1910, these workers at Hingley & Sons prepare the massive anchor assembly for the Titanic, unaware of the tragic destiny awaiting the great ship they helped build. In a rare and uncharacteristic break from his stern public persona, Joseph Stalin strikes a playful pose for a private photograph, offering a chillingly human glimpse into the life of one of history's most ruthless and powerful dictators. Designed to soothe the morning after a wild night out, this peculiar ice cube mask from 1947 promised to cure hangovers by chilling the face, proving that people have always searched for creative ways to recover. Amidst the chaos of war's end in 1945, these Jewish prisoners experienced the overwhelming emotion of being freed from a death train, a moment of profound relief and survival that stands as a testament to the human spirit. Long before the era of neon lights and sprawling casinos, the dusty desert outpost of Las Vegas in 1895 consisted of little more than a few wooden buildings and a dream of what the future might hold. Seated in a cabin that feels more like a living room, these airline passengers in 1939 enjoy a luxury flight before the invention of pressurized cabins made high-altitude travel a common reality for the rest of the world. Exuding raw power and focused intensity around 1942, the legendary Sugar Ray Robinson prepares for a fight, embodying the skill and grace that would eventually lead many to consider him the greatest pound-for-pound boxer in history. Clutching their small glass bottles with anticipation, these school children enjoy their daily free milk during the 1960s, a simple government program designed to improve the health and nutrition of an entire generation of growing young students. Deep within the loud and sweltering machinery of the USS George Washington, the stokers worked tirelessly to power the fleet, facing incredible heat and danger in a subterranean world that few sailors ever had the chance to see. 50 years after the guns fell silent, veterans in blue and gray returned to the bloody angle at Gettysburg in 1913, clasping hands over a stone wall to replace the bitterness of war with a message of peace. At a busy New York filling station in the 1920s, the booming era of the automobile is on full display as drivers stop to fuel their vehicles, while fueling the rapid expansion of a city that never seems to sleep. Walking through the snowy streets of Montreal in 1939, these innovative women wear pointed plastic headgear designed to shield their faces from freezing storms, a fashionable yet practical solution to the harsh realities of a Canadian winter. While the world marveled at the daring men eating lunch on a steel beam, photographer Charles Ebbets was the man behind the lens in 1932, or risking his own life to capture the most iconic images of construction history. Breaking away from his royal duties in the 1930s, King George VI is seen bursting with genuine excitement on a theme park ride, reminding us that even a monarch can find joy in the simple thrills of life. Standing like ancient sentinels in the desert of Baja California in 1895, these massive organ pipe cacti dwarf the travelers passing by, showcasing the rugged and majestic botanical wonders of the untamed North American wilderness during the late 19th century. In a small coal mining town in 1938, a mother and her 3 children stand before their modest home, their faces reflecting the quiet strength and determination required to survive the daily hardships of a life built on coal. With his camera and a deep respect for indigenous cultures, Edward S. Curtis captured this stunning portrait of Red Wing in 1908, preserving the intricate beauty and soul of the Absaroki people before their traditional ways changed forever. Though she became a beloved household name through her legendary roles, the passing of Loretta Sweet marks the end of an era, leaving behind a legacy of performance that touched hearts from her birth until her recent departure. Across the dusty plains of 1930, a simple moment of connection between 2 young friends reminds us that true companionship transcends time, proving that the smallest bonds often leave the most enduring marks on our hearts. Behind these silent walls in Amsterdam, the year 1960 marked a solemn opening to the public, transforming a hidden sanctuary of tragedy, marked into a global beacon of hope that still echoes with Anne's courageous spirit. Dressed in their finest Sunday best, these 3 elegant women navigate the sun-drenched sidewalks of Marshall, Texas in 1899, embodying a sense of poise and community that defined the closing chapter of a century. Towering over the Parisian rooftops in 1884, this massive iron skeleton represents over 15 years of relentless labor, slowly rising to become a colossal symbol of liberty that would soon illuminate the entire New York harbor. Gazing out from a humbler cabin in 1946, travelers crossing from Puerto Rico to New York marveled at the sky, witnessing the rapid evolution of flight only decades after humanity first dared to leave the ground. In the quiet rural expanse of Fresno County, the year 1895 reveals a landscape of rugged determination where early California pioneers worked the golden soil to build a future upon the foundations of the untamed West. Long before he would lead a nation in exile, a 2-year-old Tenzin Gyatso sits with wide, inquisitive eyes in 1937, unaware that he was destined to become the 14th Dalai Lama and a global voice. Soaring above the 1940s landscape, Jess Dixon's ingenious flying automobile promised a future without boundaries, blending the freedom of the clouds with the open road to ignite a dream of escaping every modern traffic jam. With focused intensity and a gentle hand, Bruce Lee passes the ancient secrets of Kung Fu to young Brandon in 1966, forging a legacy of discipline and fatherly love that would eventually captivate the entire world. A weary but resolute Leo Tolstoy walks the long road back to Yasnaya Polyana from Moscow, carrying the weight of his epic literary masterpieces within a soul that sought simplicity amidst his monumental fame as a novelist. The air at the Los Angeles Forum crackles with legendary energy in 1980 as Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury share a rare, candid moment between 2 kings who redefined the very boundaries of modern musical performance. The strict social codes of 1931 Heemskerk are on full display as a man is fined for his unconventional beach attire, reminding us how much our ideas of public decency and personal freedom have shifted. Dressed in the iconic oversized shoes and tattered suit of the Little Tramp, Michael Jackson pays a heartfelt tribute to Charlie Chaplin, showcasing a deep admiration for the silent film star who mastered universal storytelling. Though this 1904 postcard from France appears to show babies for sale, it remains a staged piece of early dark humor, illustrating how vintage photography often blurred the thin line between shocking reality and theatrical provocation. In the liberated streets of 1944, France, a young woman faces the harsh public ritual of head shaving for her wartime associations, a visceral reminder of the complicated and often brutal vengeance that follows the end of conflict. Shadows fall across a young child at the Zanzibar slave market in 1873, marking the final somber days of a cruel trade before an official edict finally closed the gates on this dark chapter of history. Before he became the defiant Lion of Britain, a 21-year-old Winston Churchill stands with youthful confidence in 1895, already possessing the steady gaze of a man destined to lead his country through its darkest, finest hour. Between the high-stakes battles of a galaxy far, far away, Han Solo and Princess Leia share a quiet human laugh on the movie set, momentarily stepping out of character to enjoy the magic of filmmaking. In the warmth of the 1950 sun, young Christina Goldsmith shares a tender, innocent kiss with a Weimaraner puppy, a sweet glimpse into a childhood surrounded by her father's prized stock of elegant and loyal hunting dogs. Hand in hand with a feathered friend, a little girl explores the London Zoo in 1937, creating an enchanting scene of harmony that reminds us of the pure, uncomplicated wonder found in the company of animals. Captured through the lens of Edward Curtis in 1908, these Native Americans stand with a profound and quiet dignity, representing a rich cultural heritage that remains deeply woven into the vast and ancient spirit of the land. The streets of Hollywood are crowded with mysterious shadows in 1961, as dozens of black cats wait for their big break, hoping to bring a little bit of cinematic luck to the next big production. Beneath the vaulted ceilings of Prague Castle, these giant ancient archives hold the forgotten whispers of centuries, preserving the vast collective memory of a nation within their weathered pages and massive hand-bound leather spines. Wandering through the bustling streets of London during the 1930s, this unique walking library brought the gift of literature directly to the people, proving that the hunger for knowledge can find a way into every corner. Beneath the swirling steam of an 1855 Ottoman kitchen, this earliest known photograph of the doner kebab reveals a culinary tradition that has traveled through centuries to become a beloved global phenomenon. In the quiet, humble surroundings of 1938, a young Elvis Presley sits with Gladys and Vernon, capturing a rare and tender glimpse of the future king before he forever changed the world of music. Donning a heavy protective suit designed in the early 1900s, this brave firefighter prepares to face the heat, showcasing the dangerous and experimental nature of early life-saving technology in the line of duty. Rising silently over the lunar horizon in 1968, the Earth appears as a fragile blue marble, a breathtaking perspective captured by the Apollo 8 crew that forever shifted how humanity views its celestial home. Through the heavy contention of 1961, East Berlin policemen keep a watchful, suspicious eye on a photographer across the border, illustrating the chilling divide that split a city and its people in two. In the desperate final months of 1989, an East German border guard opens fire on a fleeing citizen, a stark and harrowing reminder of the high price many paid for their ultimate pursuit of freedom. Risking everything in the shadows of 1961, a compassionate East German soldier lifts a young boy over the rising Berlin Wall, ensuring a family remained whole despite the cruel barriers of a divided nation. The vibrant energy of 1985 is perfectly captured as Eddie Murphy and Rick James strike a confident pose, celebrating a golden era of entertainment where comedy and funk music ruled the cultural stage. Tucked into the narrow cockpit of his Newport 28, Eddie Rickenbacker of the 94th Aero Squadron prepares for flight, embodying the daring spirit of the legendary flying aces who patrolled the skies of history. Soaring high above the 1988 Winter Olympics, Eddie the Eagle, Edwards captures the hearts of a roaring crowd, proving that the true spirit of sport lies in the courage to try regardless of finish.